Adam symbolically represents the first human who recognized God and attained divine knowledge. Ibn Arabi states that Adam was the first bearer of divine wisdom and knowledge on earth. In Sufi teachings, the attainment of spiritual maturity by reaching the climax of recognizing God and acquiring divine knowledge is defined as Hazrat Adam. In Kabbalistic teachings, Adam is associated with Adam Kadmon, the highest manifestation of God. This journey will gain meaning as we realize our potential to become the most perfect being by reflecting God's names, in other words, His light. Hello dear friends! In my video last week, I talked about the language of symbolism. From time to time, I think of sharing short videos with you on the symbolic meanings of concepts. This way, we can touch upon both those in my books and other universal symbols from every angle. Today, I want to talk about Adam, the greatest symbol of the world. Nowadays, we are experiencing serious conceptual chaos, and this actually leads us to disagreements and misunderstandings even when we are saying the same thing. In my video on the language of symbolism, I mentioned that everything in this physical dimension has a counterpart in the dimension of meaning, that behind the apparent meaning, there is also a hidden meaning. From here, I will talk about the visible and hidden meanings of humans and Adam. But first, it would be good to look at the words and etymological meanings of human, Adam, and mankind. When we look at the word human, it is defined biologically as a being belonging to the species Homo sapiens. In Islam, the definition of a human is seen as God's representative on earth and the bearer of the divine trusts. As a being with intellect and will, a human is obligated to follow God's commands and ensure justice on earth. In the Quran, the creation of man, his responsibilities and his closeness to God are frequently mentioned. Let's look at the etymological meaning of the word human. The word human has Arabic roots and is derived from the words uns, to get used to establish closeness, to form a bond. This indicates that man is a social being and needs to establish relationships with other people, but it also signifies the quality of connecting with the Creator. According to some sources, the word human is also linked to the word nisyan, which means forgetfulness. This actually expresses that man is a being who can forget and make mistakes. From another perspective, it is a reference to how he has forgotten his essence, his meaning, why he is here, and his truth. When these two words, nisyan and uns, are used together, they encompass both the human side of man and his side that thinks, is aware, and seeks. Looking at the meaning of the word Adam, Adam is accepted as the first man and prophet. He was created by God, and the divine spirit was breathed into him. Adam is seen as God's representative on earth and the ancestor of humanity. The Quran describes in detail the creation of Adam and his descent from paradise to earth. Symbolically, Adam represents the first human who recognized God and reached divine knowledge. In Islamic and Sufi sources, Adam holds a different position from other beings because he was breathed into by God's Spirit and possesses divine knowledge. Ibn Arabi states that Adam was the first bearer of divine wisdom and knowledge on earth. In this context, Adam is important not only for his physical existence, but also for his spiritual maturity and closeness to God. In Sufi teachings, Adam represents the definition of insani kamil, the final stage reached in the process of knowing God and attaining divine knowledge. In Kabbalistic teachings, Adam is associated with Adam Kadmon, the highest manifestation of God. Adam Kadmon represents the divine light in the creation of man and the knowledge of the entire universe. This means that Adam symbolically carries universal knowledge and the secrets of God. He is symbolized there as the first human to attain the Creator. Etymologically, the word Adam originates from Hebrew and is written as Adam. In Hebrew, Adam also means soil or red soil. This meaning aligns with the belief that Adam was created from earth. In Hebrew, the word Adam expresses both the origin of humankind and the nature and potential of a human. It actually has a deep and multi-layered meaning. In Arabic, the word Adam means dust, earth, and also refers to non-existence and nothingness. This meaning conveys the state of existence before creation. From another perspective, it symbolizes the states of nothingness and non-existence that a person must achieve before reaching the Creator. In Arabic, like in Hebrew, this word has a deep and multi-layered meaning. The literal meaning of the word bashar refers to the biological and physiological aspects of a human. This concept focuses on the worldly and material aspects of a human. As bashar, a human is a being dependent on desires, fears, and basic needs. In the Quran, the concept of bashar is used to emphasize the physical existence and worldly weaknesses of humans. Looking at the etymological meaning of bashar, it also has Arabic origins and means skin or flesh. This emphasizes the physical and biological aspects of a human. Bashar typically refers to the weak, fallible, and desire-driven aspects of a human, considered as a being that has not yet attained divine wisdom, driven by basic needs and desires. In Sufi and Kabbalistic teachings, the spiritual journey of a human and the process of knowing God holds significant importance. The concepts of Insani Kamil and Adam Kadmon represent the peak stages of this journey. In this context, Adam is symbolized as the first human being who recognized the Creator and attained divine knowledge, emphasizing spiritual and divine aspects. When we consider this process from different perspectives, we can relate it to the verses about Adam's creation. In the verses 28 and 29 of Surah Al-Hijr, it is mentioned that Adam was created from clay and that God breathed his spirit into him. In verses 31 to 34 of Surah Al-Baqarah, it is mentioned that God taught Adam all names, meaning the essence of things, and this knowledge made Adam superior to the angels. In other words, the stage of creation from clay represents Adam's beginning in the material world and his biological existence. This stage refers to the human's physical aspect. It also suggests that humans are created with a natural desire to receive, because the earth takes whatever you give it. During the phase of the soul being breathed in, God breathed his spirit into Adam, making him a living being. This indicates Adam's spiritual dimension and his closeness to God, his ability to connect with and recognize him. So it represents not just the biological beginning of humanity, but also the spiritual beginning. As mentioned in the works of Ibn Arabi, Adam is the first manifestation of the Creator's names and attributes on earth. This stage represents the awakening, aware side of humans. In other words, it's the beginning of Adam's journey to becoming a perfect human, reaching spiritual maturity. So it shows this potential exists. In the part about knowledge and vicegerency, as mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah, God taught Adam the essence of things, all names, giving him special knowledge and understanding. This enables him to act as God's vicegerent on earth. In Sufism, this stage is the perfect human, and in Kabbalah, it is the Adam Kadmon level. In other words, the highest level of one who has attained the Creator, the human who has realized their ascension. The concepts of Adam, human, and mortal consider the physical, biological, and spiritual aspects of humans from different angles. In light of this information, we can say that mortal emphasizes the biological and physical sides of a human, symbolizing the desire to receive solely for oneself. Adam symbolizes the beginning of the path to attaining the Creator, learning all his names, reaching the truth, and attaining the rank of vicegerent on earth, which is perfection. The concept of being a vicegerent requires a great responsibility. It reminds that a human must act with justice, compassion, and love while fulfilling their duty. It also reminds that they must adhere to divine wisdom and God's commands. Human, being a general concept, is a being that carries both mortality and perfection within itself. As stated in verses 4 and 5 of Surah At-Tin, we created man in the best form. Then we brought him down to the lowest of the low. When a person transcends a literal human existence and starts questioning existential questions like who am I? Why am I here? They begin their symbolic journey of becoming Adam. Adam's journey represents the individual and universal journey of humanity. Individually, every person strives to attain divine knowledge and reach Allah by following in Adam's footsteps on their spiritual journey. Universally, this spiritual journey that began with Adam represents the collective consciousness and spiritual evolution of humanity throughout history. This journey is entirely about the spiritual evolution of man. It's about knowing oneself, purification, and reaching the Creator. Ancient teachings like Sufism and Kabbalah say that a person starts from the lowest of the low, purifies themselves, sheds their shells, and reveals the divine essence within, ultimately reaching Him at the end of the journey. In other words, returning to their starting point, their home, but through their own efforts, their own acquisitions. By undergoing an inner transformation, they reach Allah's wisdom and love. According to Ibn Arabi, man represents divine wisdom and justice on earth as Allah's deputy and carries the responsibility to spread these on earth. The path we think starts here is actually a journey of return. The experiences we have here are reflections of truths that happen in the realm of meaning. We can illustrate this with the example of the roots and branches of a tree. Everything we see here is merely a part of the branches of that tree. Just a reflection, a projection. However, in reality, the beginning of everything is where the roots of the tree are. Although man was created last in this universe in a physical sense, the entire stage of the universe was set for man. Actually, in the spiritual realm, the first created being was human, the meaning of humanity. Everything in the universe was arranged for the purpose of human existence and this journey, for the journey of the soul, which uses the physical body as a vehicle for perfection. This journey will find meaning in manifesting our potential to be the most perfect being by reflecting the names, that is, the light of Allah. I hope that each of us will progress with patience and determination to realize our meaning and fulfill our mission. Stay with love and understanding.